Let's see what our room looks like at night with some artificial lighting. We'll create a lamp light, a room light, and a spot. We'll start with a lamp. It's a floor lamp here. We can get in close in the top view and create the light. Go to the Create panel, Lights, Free Light. We get a dialog asking if we want physical camera exposure control. Yes, we do. So we'll choose Yes. And then click to create that light. Grab the Move tool and move it up in one of the orthographic views. And now it's inside that lamp. We can zoom in there. Cool. Tumble around, double check, make sure it's where we want. With it still selected, go over to the Modify panel, rename it Lamp Light. It's got the light distribution type of uniform spherical, and that is what we want. Let's emit from a sphere as well, so we'll get soft shadows. Under Shape Area Shadows, choose Sphere, and give it a radius of 0.05 meters. So it's 5 centimeters in radius. And dolly forward in the views, we can see there is now a sphere surrounding that light that is 5 centimeters in radius. Back in the light parameters, let's set its intensity, switch it over to lumens, and give it a value of 500 lumens. Finally, we have the color temperature. Switch that over to custom Kelvin of 3200 degrees. That's our lamp light. We also want a spotlight shining on this picture here. Dolly back in the top view. Go back to the Create panel. And we can create a target light this time. Click on Target Light. Click and drag. We've got the light and its target. And once again, in the orthographic view, we can move them up and down. Select the light's target, position that as well. Put this up in the ceiling. With that light still selected, go to the Modify panel and rename it Picture Light. The distribution type down here will switch to Spotlight. And in the distribution spotlight parameters, set the hotspot to 16 degrees and the fall off to 32 degrees. And now it's focused more on that picture. And the intensity, once again, switch it to lumens. Set it to a lower value of only 40 lumens. That's going to concentrate a lot more light than you might think in that little area there. The color temperature, once again, will be a custom Kelvin value of 3200 degrees. And then in Shape Area Shadows down here, switch it from point to disk and give it a radius of 0.25 meters. And now we can see a disk here in the view. We can use the Z key in the perspective view to zoom in on the selected object and tumble around, and there's the disk. That's our spotlight. Now we're ready to add the room light. There's just going to be a sort of ambient light over here, and we can duplicate the lamp for that. Select that lamp light. With the Move tool active, hold down Shift and drag over to create a clone. This time we'll use a copy, so they'll have independent parameters. And rename it while we're here. We'll call it Room Light. Move that up so that it's close to the ceiling if you want, or just simply move it out. I'm going to leave it kind of at eye level, actually. We got our 3 lights. Last, we just want to adjust the parameters of this one just a bit. Go into its parameters and increase the lumens value to 1000 and give it a larger radius of 0.15 meters. We've got light coming from the television screen as well. And if we zoom in here in one of these views, you can see that there is an object there, which is called TV Screen Illuminated. It's got a material assigned to it already. Let's check that out. Open up the Material Editor and go into Scene Materials. Scroll through there, and eventually you'll find TV Screen Emission. Drag that over into the view and choose Instance. Double-click it to load its parameters, and just change that up as we did before. Change the material mode to Advanced. Set the base color weight to 0. Reflection weight to 0. Reflection roughness 1, and index of refraction 1. We can attach our emission map. Click on the button down here under Emission. and double-click bitmap. This time we'll choose one of our previously rendered images. We can use desert dome env fog.png and click open. It's now connected. Let's go into its parameters, double-click. It's an explicit texture map. Let's just set the filtering to none down here. And the output amount is going to be 1, but double check that just to show you output amount is 1. Cool. Back to our physical material that was previously created. Set the emission weight to 1 and the luminance to a very low value of only 15 candelas per square meter. We'll leave the Kelvin value at 6500 because that is actually the color temperature of a TV screen. Cool. We can close the material editor and finally go into the rendering exposure control and change that up. We've just got the default values here. Turn off use physical camera controls if available, and then we can adjust all the cameras in the scene with these global exposure values. Make the camera more sensitive to light by setting the exposure value to a lower number. Let's go to exposure value of 2. Change the color temperature. Set it to a custom temperature of 4000 degrees Kelvin. In image control, let's change the tone mapping. Highlights of 0.15, midtones of 0.55, shadow of 0. Those are the parameters we want for our interior artificial lighting. We can close environment and effects, go into render setup, and do a production render, double, triple checking once again that we're rendering the physical camera, and click render. As this renders, I can see that one of my lights is visible in a reflection, so I can cancel out of that. Move that light over a little bit, and then do another production render. And here's a full screen production render of the interior artificial lighting setup. And that's how to use photometrics for a night shot in 3ds Max.